Hi, and welcome to Marketing Optimization with Alex Designs. I'm here with Jay Berkowitz from 10 Golden Rules, and we're looking forward to this great episode. How's it going today, Jay?
Great, thanks for having me.
We are going to be talking about conversion rate optimization and landing pages today, and we have some great content. Jay, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I started way back in marketing, working for Coca-Cola and McDonald's, and got into internet marketing with Sprint in the very early days of the internet, getting people online, getting our clients email. And then I had the fortune of working with you at EDiets.com. And that's where we did some massive optimization testing, because we had amazing traffic, like 200,000 people a day. And we could A/B test, split tests of 50,000 people going to see one page and 50,000 seeing another page. And we really did mega testing and learned a lot about optimization in those years.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really a great time for the internet, and it was the dot-com boom, and we were learning so much because you can basically put almost anything up and we would find out how everything would work like right away.
And this was the early 2000s, so it's a long time ago now. And a couple years into my EDiets experience, I was asked to speak at the Direct Marketing Association. And I wrote a presentation called the 10 Golden Rules of Online Marketing. And at the end of that presentation, 5 or 6 people came up to me and asked me if they could hire me as a consultant. And I started this company, 10 Golden Rules, about 10 years ago, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so now you're an agency and you're working with different clients doing optimization, pay-per-click. What type of other services?
Well, I like to say we do the 4 S's.
Okay.
So the first S is strategy. We help people figure out, should they be doing affiliate marketing or should they be doing pay-per-click, SEO, whatever. And so strategically we help them, get pointed in the right direction and prioritize the projects. The second S is search marketing, of course, both SEO on the natural search side and pay-per-click management. Mm-hmm. And then social media is very important today. Mm-hmm. Facebook is number 1, and YouTube and Twitter and Google Plus all play into our client projects.
And you basically are optimizing all those different levels of marketing in general. And do you have a certain type of framework that you go through to get your clients the best results from each of those different avenues?
Actually, let me just finish the 4 S's, because people are going to be like counting strategy, search, social, and speaking. I speak at a lot of conferences, so that's my 4 S's. But to answer your question, yeah, I mean, testing and optimization, like the 10 golden rules. Golden rule number 1 is there are no rules. But really that rule is all about testing and optimization, because in traditional advertising we had rules because we didn't have the ability to test very quickly. So basically you did focus groups and you did TV commercials and you used the best strategy off your research, and then you just threw the TV on air and hoped for the best, because you couldn't really do the rapid testing. But the beauty of the internet and why it's so different is we can test very, very quickly, and we can iterate and redesign and retest or test new offers very, very quickly and get statistically significant results. So really golden rule number 1 is that there are no rules, meaning in internet advertising we don't follow the rules, we follow the rule of the consumer.
Sure.
And optimization testing tells us what to do.
Yeah, I mean, so much has changed so much, and with social media and influence, how can people really figure out the right way to do, optimization for their sites? Because a lot of times people come to me and they're like, just copy my competitors or do exactly what they're doing, and that's not necessarily the right way to approach it. How do you guys approach that?
Well, I would agree and I would disagree. Like, you've got to start with something. So the place to start is actually not a bad place to start. Is if 2 or 3 competitors are they're doing a good job. I actually learned a lesson from a guy we used to work with, and he used to print out a bunch of websites and put them up on the wall. I actually think that's a pretty good way of visualizing, even with all the digital ability today. You print, just copy the pages and print them out on the wall, and you'll start to see commonalities throughout the industry. Or, a really good thing to do is not copy your own industry. Go and look at, what's Amazon doing today, or what's Apple doing. Print those out and say, okay, here's a common theme that I'm seeing across a number of the top websites, either in my industry or in irrelevant industries, and then design something as a starting place. take your best crack at what you think your consumer would want. And then maybe from some of the things you see your competitors doing or some of the things you see in the industry, design a competing page to compete with yourself. And then that would be your A/B test, your classic A/B test, where A is your best performer or your best initiative, and then B would be something you think might beat it somehow. And beat it, by beat it, we always mean, more sales if it's in e-commerce, or more leads if it's in business to business, or more downloads if you have a free white paper or a brochure or some kind of information that's that first level of engagement.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to, put yourself in the customer's perspective and not make assumptions. And you're doing these different experiments using A/B testing. You're testing one variable versus another, and through this iterative process where you're testing little pieces at a time in order to figure out the bigger result in the end game. So you're tracking leads, sales, and that type of thing. But also, on the search side, how people are testing different ads and then driving that traffic back to your site. What would you say to the average person who's spending a lot of money on advertising, and how can they drive up a higher ROI and produce more revenue from the amount of money that they're spending?
Well, let's use the simplest form of advertising in our industry is a Google pay-per-click campaign. And let's say you're doing advertising for our business, and we want to target prospective clients. So people are searching things like internet marketing agency, internet marketing consultant, internet marketing pay-per-click management, internet marketing optimization, landing page optimization. And you would build a campaign with all those different keyword phrases. And that's the first place you do your testing. You test different keyword phrases and you see how many clicks do I get when I run my ads against those different keyword phrases. Absolutely. But that's just step one. Step two is you test different ads. So you should have 2 or 3 different ads minimum in your campaign. And ideally, you would create a grouping of keywords that are very similar to a grouping of ads. So, we wouldn't do all of those things I talked about in one portion of the campaign. We'd, have one portion all about pay-per-click management, one portion about social media management, and one portion of the campaign about landing page optimization and testing. And the keyword phrases would all be similar. And then the ads, 2 or 3 ads, would be similar. They'd say, if you were talking about pay-per-click, you'd say we're a pay-per-click internet agency. We're your best choice for pay-per-click advertising. Right. Pay-per-click management, see our case studies. And those are 3 different ads you'd test. So the first step is the keywords, the second step is the ads, and then of course we get into the landing pages. And so you could have your A/B test on 2 different landing pages, and I just threw an idea there. The first one could say, lots of experience and a couple testimonials from clients, and the second one could have some kind of offer or guarantee or promise. Right. And you'd test those 2 variables as your first A/B test. And we typically say A/B because it's simple. Right. When you get into A, B, C, D, E, sometimes you're not even driving enough traffic to get statistically significant results on so many options. So sometimes we just use the KISS method. Keep it simple, Smiley. Right. And just test A, B, so it's really, really simple. So you're testing keywords, you're testing ads, and you're testing landing pages as variables.
Right.
And that's a lot of variables.
Yeah. So someone is looking for an agency, they have this problem that they want to solve, and now you're creating relevance in your advertising, and then when they arrive at your landing page, you're creating a solution for what they were originally solving for.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so landing pages, after someone has clicked on something and they've arrived at your landing page, there's so many different ways to do landing pages. Forms, capturing, to capture leads, or e-commerce for sales, or just getting people really to call. Is there consistency that you've seen for the best practices of developing landing pages and designing and that type of thing?
Well, one of the places to start is you always have to have, in my opinion, some type of call to action, some type of engagement device. I use the term UVP, I think we have it here, a unique value proposition, where you're offering something free or low cost or interactive, and it doesn't have to be your standard download it. at EDiets we had this great free diet profile. And essentially that was just something that we made up, that we tested all kinds of different deliveries. So
Absolutely.
a diet profile could be charts, it could be your BMI, it could be recommended meal plans. What we delivered in the back end didn't really matter, but our proposition to the consumer was, we're going to give you something free that has a perceived value.
Right.
So again, that UVP, or unique value proposition, could be something with perceived value. It could be something very tangible, like a discount or a coupon.
Right.
It could be an ebook, a white paper, or it could be some sort of interactive device, like a rating mortgage calculator. How much house can you afford?
The form element here,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Yeah, the way you built it here, it's a multi-step form that they'd fill out, answer some questions. And something important in this, I always believe, is if people tell you, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds and I want to lose it in 4 weeks because I've got a wedding, don't give them back, congratulations, you want to lose 10 pounds in 4 weeks because you've got a wedding.
Right.
Give them something more. So ask enough questions and provide enough in the algorithm that you're actually giving them something of value.
Right. And I mean, this is an interesting one, because this landing page is actually the beginning of a conversion funnel. So we're taking them through a step process where they're getting the user to interact with the page and actually click and move stuff around, and then giving them something in return for actually filling that out. And through that process, we were collecting leads, and we were able to build up a database of 1 million subscribers and stayed in business for many years.
Yeah. Yeah, probably the key word you mentioned there was interact. There's, like, we call it the 4-second rule, that people decide within 4 seconds, and often 2 or 3 seconds, whether or not the page has what they're looking for or interests them in any way. So you need to have an interaction device, an engagement device of some sort that's going to get people to stay on the page and start reading, filling something out, downloading something. Otherwise everybody knows how to hit the back button now, and they'll go back to the page that they came from, or the Google search, or wherever they originated the traffic to your website. So you really need something engaging.
Right. Yeah, and also when looking at landing pages in general, photography and imagery and is part of that unique value proposition. So in diet and fitness, you can't just put a woman on there who's a testimonial or lose weight. It really has to go along with that unique value proposition. What value are they really going to understand within that couple seconds to win them over and produce that lead or that sale, that type of thing.
Yeah, we found it's very tricky in diet. For example, I always used to use the term aspirational. You had to have someone who was aspirational. Now, if the girl was like phenomenally fit and phenomenally skinny, like some super workout, amazing person in amazing shape with 2% body fat, that wasn't aspirational. Like, this girl's probably perfect because she, for your average mom who had her first kid or her second kid, she's aspirational. She lost weight. She's not super skinny, but she looks great and she looks really fit.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got to be achievable. The perception has to be that it's achievable.
Right, and also with the way the internet's changed, people feel trust is definitely an issue.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good example, because you have the security symbols above the fold.
Yeah, the trust logos.
Right, and what they're calling now social proof, to make it relevant to someone who really wants to achieve those goals, using testimonials and making it feel easy. So let's take a look at a few other examples of some landing pages and some ideas to do conversion testing.
This is really straightforward, but I think people often overlook it. And this would just be an internal landing page from a website. And again, this is like pretty obvious perhaps, but again, some people miss this step, which is, this is our first client. It was called Annie's Costumes. And if somebody does a Google search or YouTube search or whatever for boy's Harry Potter costume, don't bring them to your homepage and make them search and find the boy's Harry Potter costume. Bring them to the internal page with the Harry Potter child costumes.
Right.
It's so obvious that it should never be overlooked, but it'll make a huge difference in your conversion rates. And then, of course, you're going to optimize these pages with testing and different variables. But the first basic step is just you used the term relevance before, and it's so important in everything we do in internet marketing. Make the keyword that they search, make the ad relevant, make the landing page relevant to what they're looking for. Basically answer their question, and you have a much higher likelihood of success.
Right. So the homepage is definitely important. You want to optimize that. That's basically your brand.
Yeah.
But there's several other pages that are probably more important. In this case, an e-commerce page, the product page is very important, and then the checkout process and essentially closing that sale is maybe even more important than the actual homepage. And in this case, with the individual product page, someone has searched for that, and now they're arriving here. But also the ability to get people to share that is just so important, because they're more likely not going to share your homepage or talk about it, because influence is so important in word of mouth marketing. So driving them to an item page or a product page.
Those social integration pieces are so valuable today.
And since I'm a designer, just pointing out here, really the most important part of this page is that button, and the button, add to cart button.
The add to cart button,
is the focal point. It's really what people need to click on in order to close that sale. And essentially the composition of the page is really made up. So the dark text on the white background with the green, that's really where your eye goes to first to get them to click add to cart.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That pops right off the page, and it's a high likelihood the person's going to be able to figure out what to do with it.
I think another thing to really point out is that when people are arriving at your e-commerce site or any site in general, is it really first-time visitors, is to offer them some type of promotion. You want to lower that barrier of entry to get that sale really quickly. And I think this does an example of the 10% off coupon. It's getting people to sign up for discounts, that type of thing. And also the phone number. I mean, people are so there's different type of buying modes. People want to call phone numbers, or people want to buy online, and some people just want to call and make that sale. So are you guys doing tracking related to phone numbers? How are you guys optimizing phone number related calls?
Yeah, we use a number of different tools. The Google tool is very powerful now, because a lot of search results are coming through mobile. And on a lot of our clients, 30 to 40% of the search traffic is actually coming from mobile. So we'll develop very simplified mobile pages, and then Google has their call tracking feature as well. Just like I said, you would take this page and make it very, very simple. And then on the website, we would use a number of different services across our clients, but one that comes to mind is called New Call Solutions. And what they allow you to do, they give you, like, for a client like this, 50 phone numbers. And you have a pool of 50 phone numbers. And so off of each Google click, a different phone number is served up on the page. So you actually put code on the page, and the code's from the company. And then the company matches the keyword and the network that the traffic came from. So if it came from Google or Yahoo, Bing or whatever, gives a different phone number. And then you can track back the phone calls to the source.
So it's a clear tracking mode of tying that phone number directly back to the sale.
It's so important for us now in the industry, because for the longest time, if somebody picked up the phone, we then lost the ability to track where it came from. And as agencies, a lot of times, we lost the sale.
Right.
And so the client would say, okay, I spent $1,000 on Google, I only got 10 sales, it's $100 a sale. Well, what about your phone calls? Where did they all come from? So we used to have a simple solution, which was we'd put one phone number on landing pages, which was different, and at least we could tell how many calls we got on the landing page phone number versus the homepage phone number.
Right.
But this now gives us very precise tracking. So if they got 10 sales from online, but they got 20 sales from phone calls, the cost per sale just went down 3 times.
Yeah, that's so important. Because what you can't measure, you can't grow, and measuring each call to individual sales, that's just so important. Or each individual ad.
We should talk about the math for a minute, because that's such an important part of this. And just to simplify it, again, say we spend $1,000 on Google ads, and that could be $1 a click, so that would give you 1,000 clicks. 1,000 people come to the website. And if we only got 10 sales in the example I used, that's $100. So 10 sales times $100 equals $1,000, $100 per sale. Now that would be a disaster, right? Because if you're selling a $24 product, you know, you couldn't make a living if it costs you $100 to get a $24 sale. But let's say that, you know, mom buys, you know, Johnny his Harry Potter costume, and Jane's a fairy princess, and mom and dad get the, you know, whatever, you know, a couple's costume, and your average sale is $129. Now you're still not in business, but let's add in those phone calls. So let's say you got 20 phone call sales as well. So you got 10 sales on the website, 20 phone call sales. So now your cost per order just went down in a third. So instead of $100, it's 33 and 33 cents or whatever. So if you got a $124 average sale with the costume for Johnny, the costume for Jane, the costumes for mom and dad, $125 sale, it costs you $33. Now you're in business. Right. And so we're constantly, you know, Alex, myself, people who in optimization, we're constantly looking at the mathematics, the performance. How much did the advertising cost? What percentage conversion did we get? What was the average sale? And those are really the key numbers you want to be aware of in landing page optimization.
Wow, this is definitely some great value here. You know, and even as a designer, you know, I'm understanding the math, and if I can understand, anybody could really. Alex
is the best mathematical designer you'll ever meet. He's very attuned to the numbers. Don't let him fool you.
Well, you know, that's an interesting point. You know, going through the .com and being in such a small space, you know, as a designer, I started coding, and then I started kind of doing marketing as well. So you know, I learned a little bit about a lot of stuff, you know, while we worked together. And you know, I've learned a ton from you in general, and
from you. Thank you.
But let's look at a couple more examples.
Yeah. Well, I love this one because a lot of people are familiar with maybe 3-4 years ago. This was the best practice in selling knowledge, information, ebooks, courses, and it was I always called this the long landing page, or the sales letter. And people will be familiar with these pages with the red text and the check marks and the, you know, case studies and the testimonials. And this page went on forever.
Scroll.
And there's an interesting thing in this type of marketing. The more pages you added, the more testimonials you added, the more examples, the more, you know, guarantees and yellow highlighted sections, the more pages, typically the more sales you got, right? The more conversion you got. So, you know, a lot of guys would just add page after, and you'd have to scroll all the way to the bottom. But as consumers, we eventually catch on, and we realize, okay, I might as well just scroll all the way to the bottom and see what the offer is, see what the price is. But, you know, 3-4 years ago, this was considered to be the best practice, right, across a lot of testing for selling information products, knowledge courses, videos, training, tutorials. But there's a new evolution, and Jeff Walker calls it the sideways sales letter. So this is an example of a video landing page. And basically what you do is you take a lot of that information that you would have provided in a long landing page, and now you're going to provide it in a series of 3 videos. So you would deliver content, you deliver value in video. And the reason Jeff Walker, who wrote the Product Launch Formula training course on how to sell informational products, sure, the reason he calls it a sideways sales letter is instead of that long format, now you're going to deliver the information and some testimonials and your offer, etc. But you're going to deliver that in a series of videos, and these are going to come out over a period of maybe a week to 10 days. So Monday, video 1, Tuesday, video 2, Wednesday, video 2, next Monday, video 3, and then maybe a final video which sums up the 3 videos and has an offer of a course. Now, the principle here, this is a website called Fuzzy Yellow Balls, and it's tennis training, and I'm into tennis now. But Will Hamilton's been very successful with this Fuzzy Yellow Balls brand. But essentially the way this would work is you would give a lot of valuable tennis training information. And if you had a course on, this is I think the singles playbook, if you had a course on playing singles tennis, you would give away 30 to 40% of your course content in these videos. And you would be providing a lot of value. And so people start thinking, wow, if I learned this much in the free videos, imagine how much I'm going to learn in the course.
Right.
Plus, they feel a little bond. We call it reciprocity.
Right.
You know, you gave me something for free.
Sure.
I feel like I have to give you, you know, $299 and buy the course because you gave me so much value.
Right.
So the long landing page is now
Yeah.
sort of the best practice for selling this type of information and knowledge is the sideways sales letter. Well, there's a great new product called Lead Pages. I think we have an example of this one. And so there's actually video playing in the background on this one, and they tested a couple different iterations for Jeff Walker's latest launch, a product launch formula. And Lead Pages basically allows you to run video and integrate a lead form over top of video. So there's a number of different formats for that, but I'd say it's the most cutting edge technique that I've seen.
Yeah, I think Lead Pages is great. They have a great way of collecting those opt-ins, and you know they give away so many landing pages for free. I couldn't believe it when I did sign up for a client. Yeah. And you know they're responsive, so they work well for mobile, and they're so easy to set up. You can integrate them easily with WordPress, and you know, and you can track directly back to the pay-per-click advertising.
Leadpages.com, definitely the cutting edge of this.
I think it's actually leadpages.net.
.net.
So let's talk about 10 golden rules. What's next for you? Are you speaking at any conferences coming up, or?
Well, 10 golden rules. We continue to test and innovate, and whenever new things like Lead Pages come along, we always try it for ourselves or try it for one or two clients, and if we get some success, we roll it into everything we're doing for all of our clients.
Right.
So that's what excites me is as new things come along, and we're testing, and Facebook is changing every day, and we're doing all kinds of fun stuff with Facebook and Facebook advertising. In terms of me and speaking, there's always lots going on. I'll be in Vegas and Colorado speaking at 3 different conferences in a week in October, and at Vegas is PubCon, the big search conference, and then I'm at a private conference, and then I'm at ShareASale at the end of the week. So
for affiliates and stuff.
Yeah, that's ShareASale is a big affiliate network.
Right.
And then there's a conference called Web Congress in Miami.
Oh wow.
And I just got booked for I'm speaking at Beer Insights, which is the world's largest beer conference, and so I guess that'll be a fun conference in New York City.
Well, that's why I have to get a beer site so I can optimize it.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, Jay, this has been very valuable. I definitely would like to bring you on in the future and talk about just Facebook in general. We could probably talk about that all day.
Absolutely.
Doing landing pages inside Facebook or social media marketing, Facebook advertising is just so targeted and great. But I really appreciate your time, and this has been really valuable. Thank you.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Marketing Optimization, podcast with Alex Designs.